Robert, for shining bright like a diamond, even when you had COVID. All right, celebrations, Evie, let's pop to it. We have birthdays. Happy birthday to so many people. Is anyone today? Danica. Danica's today. Nancy, our Nancy Boo. Nancy Boo is today as well. And tomorrow, oh, and I see Chris Spade coming up. Sometimes that feels like romper room for a minute. Happy birthday, y'all. We won't sing. Jacqueline will hate it if we do. And then we have the chat distracts me. Then we have our anniversaries that we're celebrating as well. Oh, Danica gets a birthday and an anniversary in the same month. That's fun. Happy anniversary to all y'all, as we like to say. Although it was my team leader anniversary, it was not my Keller anniversary, so that's why my face is not on there. And we have leaderboards. We have some really exciting leaderboards this month. We have our top 10 year to date, shining brightly through August. That's their work through July. And then we have our top 15 for the month of July. If you don't know, that's why they're always different. There's 2 different boards. Then we have our top teams and groups. Keep up that good work, you guys. There's so many people being helped. For so many people, they're talking about like, oh, is your market down or your agents down? You guys, up and down, yes, different depending on who you are, but the people who are continuously working and putting the energy out there, it is working for them. So keep growing, keep learning. I'm so happy for all of you. All right, congratulations. Training slides. Here are those awesome ALC members that we were just talking about and the different trainings that are coming up. So we have Friday. So today's Wednesday, that happened. Right. And then there's nobody tomorrow, right, Evie? That's Thursday is next Thursday. You're on mute.
Correct. There's nobody tomorrow. And the feedback I got today, just for everybody else on the call, is that for those that were in the room, they said they might need to see it again. So you can come back and watch these again because it is a lot of information. So the next one is Friday with Kelly, and then next week, Monday and Thursday, we have Amy and Emily. It is the same class that we're going through, but what we've been hearing is I need to do it more than once.
Evie, you looked different, a little more like Jacqueline, but I love that we just all seamlessly came together there to solve that problem.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Friday, August 9th, not the 7th, August 9th. Sorry, I got my date incorrect on that one.
No worries, all good. And as Jacqueline said, y'all, these are watch parties. You can watch on your own from home. This is meant to be if you want to come together and be in the room. And yes, watch more than once. Learn it more than once. Practice it more than once. Today's post Robert made was about reading the RPA. Go ahead and read our RPA, RLA, whatever, ABC. Read the listing agreement. Make sure you're reading your documents and digesting it. If you read it thoroughly, you will feel so much better talking to your clients about it. All right, the slide has changed, so I will stay on track. There is no team meeting next week because we are away at Mega Camp. There will be, and there's no slide for this yet, but it will be coming up. There will be the opportunity to live stream a couple of events at Mega Camp. It is live stream and we are in Central Time when we're in Austin. So it is very early in the morning. When we start early in Texas, it's even earlier in California. The one that's a little later in the day is the Cultural Summit, when our very own Bridget Potterton gets to walk the stage and be celebrated as KW Southern California's cultural ambassador. So those dates and login information will be posted. It's all going to be in Connect, y'all. So it's not complicated. Will to be determined if there'll be a watch party factor, since some of it's like bright and early in the morning. Stay tuned to the Facebook page for that details. But listen, Mega Camp is the week leading up to all these changes for California. In some states, these changes have already happened. They are live in the weeds in it, working through the details. What I want you all to hear loud and clear is I intend to bring you information as much as possible live from the floor with Gary, posting slides, posting stats, posting snippets, and then stay tuned for some very special things coming next Thursday at 8 a.m. We're going to have even more fun live on Zoom. Stay tuned for that. Okay. Market of the moment. I'm actually going to save this time for Robert today because he said he needed a little extra time with one small caveat. I'm going to post it in the Facebook page later today. The mastermind I was in this morning was talking about the 194 steps in a real estate transaction, and how when you're talking to your buyer clients, and really think of it as like a buyer listing presentation, right? When they're going to say to you, no, I don't want to pay, or no, I can't pay. Those are two different statements, right? So if it's the no, I can't pay, that's a different conversation. There's workarounds for that. If it's no, I don't want to pay, it's because you don't see value, or what's coming next with that. We're going to dive way deeper into this. I'm not just throwing it at you in today's moment and then moving on. Stay tuned for that. For the sake of time today, the 194 steps, I'm going to make sure that's posted on our Facebook page today so you can see the thorough long list for anyone who doesn't already have it, so you can understand a simple way to get behind your value in the conversation. And I'm going to emphasize in there, there's 4 steps of the 194 that are most important. So stay tuned on the Facebook page for that information coming out today. I'm probably going to post a little video to go along with it to make it make more sense. I don't want to rush through it now, but I want to say, like, look out for that. It's coming to you. And stay clear on what's coming out for Mega Camp next week. But Robert has a little extra time today, so we're going to give him that for his broker update. Jacqueline, Escrow Partners, take us away.
I would love to. I would love to give congratulations to everybody on the slide this week. You see an agent up here that either means that they closed escrow with Escrow Partners last week, made it in right before the end of the month, way to go, get your paycheck in, or they are opening this week. So congratulations to everybody who has either just opened up or just closed with Escrow Partners. We are super excited for you guys. And I would like to send a thank you out to 2 people, to Debbie Giametti and to Mark Miller, because they gave me some excellent tips on things that we might be able to bring as items of value on the buyer side. So we already do a ton. If you have a listing open with Escrow Partners, we already give you a ton of value, but we've got something cooking for those of you that are representing buyers and would like to write Escrow Partners in on your RPA when you're submitting that. So when you're submitting an offer and you choose to write in Escrow Partners, we've got some goodies coming. So we should be able to announce that right when we get back from Mega Agent Camp. But we are very excited. So thank you, Mark and Debbie, for a little bit of feedback that we have been able to turn into something fun and coming soon.
Awesome. Thank you. I love being able to see the training room live during the Zoom meeting. That's so fun. All right, movement mortgage update. Who's here? Ed, Amanda, Matt, who do I have?
It's me. How you guys doing? What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
So good to see you guys. I want to take my 2, maybe 4 minutes today. Just kidding, Evie. To talk to you guys about bridge loans. I don't know if all of you guys are familiar with what they are, how they work, the intricacies of them, and what the purpose of them is. Look, we have a lot of clients out there that are in there locked in, right, into their homes, that want to buy a bigger home, and their homes have gone up significantly in value. They got a ton of equity in it, but they might not have the money per se in cash to be able to buy another home, and they might not qualify to own 2 homes, or they might have to make a contingent offer. And we all know that we want to avoid those contingent offers because they just open up a whole can of worms, right, that we have no control over. One option that they do have are bridge loans. What a bridge loan is, I'm going to give you guys a scenario. All right. Your client owns a home, $1 million, right? And they've got a great amount of equity in there. They got, say, let's $400,000 of equity in there, right? Call it $700,000. They've been owning this home for a long time, right? They still own $300,000. They can't qualify for this dream home that they bought, that they found for $1.5 million, because they only have a couple $100,000 in the bank. The great part about a bridge loan is that they could do a transaction in 2 separate steps. One, they would pay off the existing mortgage on your current home, and they will give you the difference in cash of the equity that you have. That is the bridge part of purchasing that next home. So you have $1 million home with a $300,000 mortgage. They'll pay that $300,000 off. They'll give you the additional $400,000 of all the equity that you have, and you can take that $400,000 now and go buy your next home, because that mortgage is paid off. You don't technically own that home anymore. That's not counted against your debt to income ratio. you can go and make that move up, right? And go and buy that dream house. And you can take that money and work on your house. In the meantime, you've got 12 months until this cash is due, right? For that bridge loan. You can go ahead and you can work on your house, make it a little bit nicer, and get even more money for the sale of your home, right? And so then when you go to purchase the new home, that's really easy too. You can use bank statement loans. You can use regular conventional loans. You can use asset depletion loans. Whatever kind of creative loans we need to use to get you into that new home, we can do that. But you're not submitting a contingent offer. And you've got the ability to purchase a new home with the money, with the new financing that you would normally not be able to qualify for. So for all of you guys that have clients out there that are kind of stuck, that may want to buy a house and they can't really get the house that they want because they still own this house and they don't want to sell it before they buy the other one, let me know. We've got a solution for them, and it works, and it's very easy, very straightforward. We can go up to 75% loan to value on these things, and it's very, very helpful. And a couple of nuances behind it, just so you guys know. The rate on that is interest only that they tack on at the very end, right? So that you don't have any payments on your old loan, on your old home. The payments will start once you close on your new home, right? And they'll just deduct that money that you owe for interest on the bridge loan from any kind of proceeds later on. So if you guys have any questions about this, if you guys have any clients that you think that this might help, Corrine, please don't hesitate to hit me up and we can kind of get into the weeds about it. But hopefully you guys understand a little bit about how bridge loans work a little bit better, and the fact that there is an opportunity for clients to buy homes. Just because they own another home doesn't mean that they can't buy another home without selling that home first.
Eddie, thank you so much. And Broker Bob has got an inquiry for you on bridge loans and buying the George Washington Bridge and maybe
For
charging
$1,
tolls.
I'll sell it to you for $1.
Oh, it's so good. All right. Thank you, Eddie, for that. So
You bet, you guys.
appreciated. Nikki, let's go to our commercial corner with the lovely Nikki Francis.
All right. Ed talks long, so I'm going to talk really fast. So I wanted to give out a little quick shout out to Katie, our new agent. Not only did she attend an investors meeting recently and bring to my attention some of the opportunities there, but she also dressed up, if you missed it, as Supergirl for Comic-Con recently and took her flyers with her and for multiple days sent things out. So brand new agent, getting creative with it. That's the way to do it. Way to go, Katie. And thank you for the investment questions. I'm always here to answer them for you guys if you run across that. And if you're dealing with homeowners, many, many times you're also dealing with investors and people that are looking to grow their portfolios or build wealth through real estate. And we can help them with that with income properties, 1031 exchanges, and all multitudes of different kinds of commercial properties. Wanted to give a quick shout out to Amy Jeffers, Alex Foote, and also Mike Solis for recent referrals. What's in the hopper for this week? We have a gym for sale that was recently sliced in half, selling for $75,000. So if you know or hear of anyone that is looking for a gym, we have that on the market. We also have a restaurant that is FF&E only, which is fixtures, furnishings, and equipment only. So they are now shuttered and they are selling all of theirs, including a liquor license, for $75,000, which you can't even get by itself. Last but not least, we have a church for $1.5 million, and then a potential upcoming medical office building. So just keep that in the back of your head as you're looking for that extra income. And that extra income to date this year has been paid out at $47,000. So don't leave money on the table. If you have any questions, give me a call.
Thank you, Nikki. If you were like, wait, I might know someone who mentioned liquor license, or I know someone looking for a church, or whatever the case might be, if any of that like rang a bell in your brain, but you don't know what to do with it, here's what you do with it. Call Nikki. She will help you move through the next steps. I love our agents getting commercial referrals and getting paid to help their people do more transactions. That is awesome. Broker Bob, put your stand-up comedy aside and let's give us your broker update.
I still want to get that bridge loan from Eddie. Really, if he's offering a bridge loan, I want to buy a bridge. Just think how much money we can make,
I don't
Eddie.
think you'd qualify, buddy.
I have stellar credit, just FYI. Impeccable credentials. Happy Happy Wednesday, everybody. I've been locked up in my house too long with COVID, so I apologize. And I've been fielding nothing but phone calls and text messages today from you guys, which is fantastic because that's what ends up in the broker advice on the Facebook page. When I get asked a question, I'm like, well, I'll share this with everybody else. So I wanted to put a few things in the chat box just to keep you guys in tune. You're all doing really well knowing that you've got to learn the new BRBC and the RLA and how to present that to your clients. But there's some important dates I want to make sure. I just dropped it in the chat box for the MLS. And remember, if you're part of STMLS on 8/12, that's when you're going to see the BRBC field or the CBB field disappear from the MLS. So you won't see any offer or compensation. That's 8/12. That's 5 days ahead of the 8/17 target date for when all the rules have to be in effect. On 8/14, the CRMLS field for CBB will disappear. So you won't see it there. It's already disappeared for STMLS for any ancillary sites like Redfin and Zillow and those type of sites. So you won't see offer or compensation on those fields, on those websites out there. Also, I want to open this up. So Evie, do I have screen sharing capability?
Yes, boss.
Okay. Let me make sure I share the right screen. Show. What I want to bring to your attention is this. This came out from SCMLS, and I want to make sure that you are aware of it. You all should have gotten this in your email, but just in case, here it is. The new MLS rules about when everything will go into effect August 12th. The key changes, the CBB field going. Now, if you're CRMLS, it might be a little bit different. But here's the thing I want you to note on this is the violation and fine. Any attempt to indicate compensation within the MLS, including in private remarks, public remarks, showing instructions, images, or documents, will result in a $1,500 per offense fine and immediate removal of the violating content. So I don't think any of us have an extra 1,500 laying around. So I want to make sure that you get that sunk into your head by then and make sure that you don't have anything in your listings. If you have an active listing, get that changed right away in the MLS because we don't want that. Any questions on the fines? You got the dates. And then the other thing is the new rules regarding open houses. Excuse me, you guys. I'm still suffering from a little bit. But I did drop that in the chat box in Facebook. But the new rules regarding open houses is how to navigate through that. And I'll drop that link as soon as I can find it in here. Or unless, Mark, you have the link for the open houses, if you can drop that in there. But making sure that you guys understand how you need to operate at open houses moving forward. The basic question is, do people have to sign in? No, they don't have to sign in. But that just means you can't talk to them. So if you got someone that walks in, won't sign in, don't force it. You just can't talk to them. So you're basically just there as an overglorified open door opener. So we're going to see how this all plays out over the next 6 months. And it'll be an interesting time to go through that. And then the other thing is the BRBC stories. I'm going to drop into the chat box too, is broker advisory. Now that we are required to retain all of our BRBCs, this is an MLS rule that the MLS is saying that we have to, as a broker, and then of course the DRE says this too, we have to maintain all copies of your BRBCs. So what does that mean? I did send out information this week about how to do that. And maybe you might be a little shocked about it, but I want to explain why I had to do it this way. So we have stored everything, all of our transaction files in our compliance, in our Command proprietary software. So when we open up an escrow, we open up a listing, all that stuff goes through Command. And usually what happens is you hire a transaction coordinator, and the transaction coordinator maintains that file for you. They're the go-between. But here's what we've discovered as we move into this. What is required to open up this file is to have an opportunity as well as a contact in command. Now, polling a majority of the TCs, they said, Robert, we do that all for them. We open up the opportunity, we put the client in command. So what does that mean? It means that the TCs are doing the work that the agent should be doing, as well as meaning that you're not getting the full use of what command is for. Now, command, when you open up an opportunity, you can future forecast what business you have out there. So if you're working with 10 buyers, and I don't know, I'll use this as an example. If you got 10 buyers, maybe one of them will end up in escrow. Maybe some of you have better closing ratios. Maybe some of you have worse. But let's say you only have 10% of your buyers actually make it to escrow. Well, that means there's 9 buyers that didn't even get to the table and didn't get into escrow. Now, how do TCs get compensated? They get compensated whenever there's a closed escrow. So what I found was it's not fair to have the TCs do the administrative work up front for all the buyers you're going to have. Because again, maybe 9 out of 10 won't even get to the escrow table. So that's administrative work that the agent should be doing. And then what will happen is in the long run, once you start putting all your buyers into command and creating an opportunity, you're going to see the power of what command was for. And that is the benefit of future forecasting what business you have, as well as not losing track of any business. Because you can look and see what all activities you have coming with all your opportunities that are in there. So it's a really good way to forecast your business. And that's what the main page of command shows you, is what business do I have? It's no different than when I started in sales and the long time ago. I had a 3x5 recipe card index box, and that was all my leads, and I kept track of them. And that's what command is meant to do, keep track of all your leads rather than just you got them on this spreadsheet, you got them on this little sticky note. And so that's why we had to implement that. And we did have a class today, I believe, Jacqueline, in the office on how to create a command contact, create the opportunity, upload the BRBC, and then submit it to the Market Center for Mark then to start the review process. So if there's any questions on that, I dropped that. Very simple, easy to follow instructions on how to do that. And then my final piece of advice is, as you've all been calling me, you're all a little bit emotional, take a deep breath. Remember, Mercury's in retrograde, so the planet communication, we're all kind of a little bit overtaxed and people are speaking before they should or whatever. Just take a deep breath. We're going to get through this. Everything's going to be fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. The next 3 to 6 months is going to be a wonderful journey to figure out as we navigate through all this and move through all these new changes. And I always say the cream always rises to the top. And I believe you guys are all the cream and you will all rise to the top. And I want to give a huge shout out to Greg Erickson, because he's been my guinea pig as I tested this process of uploading a BRBC into his command portal, which he's realizing, oh, this isn't that hard. I can do this. So shout out to Greg. If you want to hear from Greg directly, just reach out to him. He said, yeah, it's not that hard. And wow, I can look and see how much business I have coming up. So that's it. Back to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Robert. I love the peaceful way you just journeyed us through. The next 3 to 6 months are going to be yada, yada, yada. He's absolutely right, you guys. And hear what I'm about to say next with informative education mom tone, not with doom and gloom tone, because y'all know I'm upside forever. So on that mastermind this morning, one of the things I did hear was that in some states where this has already gone into place, the local associations or the state or whoever's doing it have actually hired legal, dummies to go out into the field and pose as buyers and see how the agents interact with them. And fines have been issued for these people. It's not California. I'm not saying it's happening here. I'm saying just perfect your game now. Practice to make it perfect. Not you have to be perfect, but know that you know what you're doing and that you don't go like, oh, this one looks like, a neighbor, so it's fine if I don't follow the rules. If you're following the rules, you're going to be fine, okay? So again, hear that with mom tone, not with doom and gloom tone. I don't do doom and gloom. This is all advice to make you better and help you all make more money. Because everyone who comes through this on the right side of things is going to make more money. That's enough on that. All right, we have a exciting update from coaches. Alicia, let's go.
Before Alicia, can I make one more announcement? And sorry, Mark, I forgot to write that down. We now have the templates, and Mark put in the chat box how to import the new templates with all the new documents. So download that document. It's very simple, easy to follow instructions. I did it yesterday all by myself. And you can use the templates now for the new zip form documents in your own zip forms. Okay, sorry about that.
That's very important. Thank you, BB. Alicia.
Hi.
Hi.
Yay, no more doom and gloom. Let's talk about fun stuff. So Kathy opened escrow on her own listing. I didn't see her on there, but yay, Kathy. She's in launch with me. And then, of course, Greg, he is coaching with Robert, and he got another BRBC signed, which obviously that has been uploaded to Command, right? Yay, good job, Greg. I saw Greg on here. Wave. Hi, babe. That's it. Thanks, bye.
Thanks, bye. Excellent work, you all. Great job. And I want to double down on that for a second. So none of this should be heard with doom and gloom energy. All of it should be heard with like, be better. You're already so far ahead. You've been learning for months about what to do next. And if you're like, I haven't gone to anything. There's so many links in the chat right now that'll be posted to the Facebook page. Just start studying. Treat your business like a professional business, and you are going to be awesome. Come to the sessions this week and next. Keep learning and growing. We have plenty of time to keep accelerating together. All right, does anyone have a property pitch that's like on fire, have to share today? Oh my gosh, if not, post it to Facebook or drop it in the chat. Speak now or forever hold your peace, because we have an awesome agent interview today. It's been a minute since we did an agent interview, top agent interview on the meeting. And I am so excited to bring you guys none other than John Fields today. Some of you know him. Some of you love his humor and his sarcasm. Who doesn't? Some of you might think like, I've seen him around on leaderboards all the time, but I really don't know him at all. That's the point of these interviews, to get to know your people who are always at the top. What are they doing? How are they doing it? And to find out, you guys, there's never any secret pills involved. It's just the work that the agents do, time on task over time. You will have seen John showing up as a top 10 agent all the time, frequently, constantly in there. And when you talk to him about his business, he's like, I don't know, I just talk to people. That's all I do. So John, thank you for agreeing to meet with me today.
I look too big right now.
Evie has magic buttons she can do for that, I think. But let's get started. Tell us a little bit about your background and what brought you into real estate.
Okay. So my background, I grew up around real estate. When I was younger, growing up, my dad owned a franchise of another brokerage, and for a bunch of years. So I grew up around this. He was the broker of record for a company for a bunch of years, and so it kind of was around it throughout, like all through. Actually, since I was born, he ran that company. And then once I was in college, I was trying to figure out. This is the short version, right? What I wanted to do. I was getting a degree in psychology and marketing, and I was in my senior year, and I was figuring out that I was probably going to get into sales of some sort. So I thought, I've been around real estate my whole life. It's what I've been exposed to. Why not give that a shot? So I remember when I was a senior, I was studying to get my real estate license when I probably should have been studying for my finals. But I knew I was going to pass those at least just fine. So got my real estate license when I was 22. Yeah, 2012. And it took me about I'm born and raised here in San Diego. It took me about 6 months to do my first transaction, and then I just have not looked back since. I've been with our office since shortly after that, I think 2013.
Nice. It's nice to give everybody who doesn't know like a glimpse into what brought you here and how long have you been doing it? So tell us, what has been your greatest achievement this past year?
This past year, my greatest achievement I'd have to say is we just had a baby in October, and learning how to balance my business with having a child and not letting my production slip too much. That just figuring that balance out has definitely been the hardest thing I've had to do. So I'd say I'm pretty proud of that.
As you should be, as you should be. Congratulations. Such an awesome time for you. If you had to get a listing today, like today, what would you do?
My database is pretty much all I've been doing. I have my database that is pretty small. It's like 350 people, and it's just I've chosen to keep it that way. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but my database is everyone that I've closed business with, and then some close people in my life. So it would be reaching out to all of those people in some way, either call, text, email. But it wouldn't be. I haven't called. When I first started, I did the expireds and FSBO thing for a little bit, but it just wasn't my thing. That is a quick way to find business, but yeah, for me, it would just be going to this somewhat tight-knit group of people who trust me and just asking all of them for referrals. Because whenever I do that, it's amazing how I should probably do that more, but I always end up with referrals. So I should probably do that like today.
Sometimes the agents being interviewed learns along the interview process. It's perfect that way. Yeah. I want to go back to the first question or the second question for a second, because you said you got in, your child was born in the fall and you're so proud of the balance, and you're on the top 10 list right now. So I want to make sure is there any pointers you could give somebody to what has helped you navigate being a new dad and balancing your business?
Yeah, it's a good question. What has helped me navigate it? Well, I'm not gonna lie. I think having done this for about 12 years now and having a good past client base and having decent referral business, that has helped sustain me also. You get lucky here and there because of staying in touch with those people. And so I have had, during that time, I've had referrals come in that, I'd say maybe I didn't have to work for, but the reality is I did work for them. I, cultivated the relationship and they trust me and they have come back to me or whatever. So that, I think it would be considerably more difficult if I was just trying to establish myself and just starting doing this. I could see that could be a lot tougher. But with those, and then when you get to a place where you're lucky enough to work with people that you enjoy and your past clients and people that trust you, they also tend to understand your situation. So those people I tell like, hey, I'm working a little bit shorter hours right now because this is what I have going on in my life. And they love that. They love that you have a family and this isn't the only thing that you're focused on 24/7. And people respect when you kind of have some boundaries too. I think our industry glorifies people just working 24/7. And I never have really understood that because that's not how I work. That's not how I like to work. It's not fun. Doesn't make me happy. And I think figuring out how to cut it off at a certain point, and this is a very, very difficult business to shut off at the end of the day sometimes. But I think it's become more and more necessary now that when I go home, I have a little girl there and my wife, and I need to figure out how to be present. And it's not always easy, but I forget what the question honestly even was. So no, I'm just ready.
No, it's perfect. You said a couple of things that were I want people to make sure they heard in there, is that people respect your boundaries when you give them to them. and that people want to celebrate your life with you. So you sharing like, hey, I'm a parent now. So not only my wife and my relationship, but also my daughter. Like, I want to be sure
Yeah.
that I'm present with you when it's business time and I'm present with them when
Totally.
it's home time.
And so,
And
yeah, I don't respond to my phone at 8 p.m. Like, I'll text you back in the morning.
yeah,
Yeah, you just put your phone away.
nothing worth happening in the business is happening between 8 p.m. and the next morning,
You're
because
not gonna solve anything during those hours. You might ease somebody's anxieties or concerns, but you can do that in the morning. And it's easier said than done. I've had plenty of times where I've picked up a late call, but Vinny, what's your cutoff time for responding back to your clients? Oh, after 8 p.m., what my wife and I've been doing is going airplane mode and phone away, phone in the kitchen. Because I found that like we slip into bad habits of, hanging out and us being on our phones. And it's like, we only get after the baby goes down at 7 or whatever, then we only get a few hours together. And if we're spending that time looking at a screen, does nobody any good. So 8 p.m. and then I'll start messaging people again at 8 a.m.
12
Unless
hours
it's
of off
that I
time.
know is really early riser and we're texting at 6 o'clock in the morning, then, I'll ask them how they want to be communicated with, but I'm up very early, I'm not up like Ashley early. I'm not up at 2 a.m., but, 6 a.m., that kind of thing.
Nobody's up Ashley early. That's crazy. I love that perspective and I want everyone to hear it. And I'm going to take your pro tip of airplane mode on the counter in the kitchen, because it does seep in and we do go down a slippery slope and we validate, oh, but I'm just, and then you're right, your relationships matter. So I love that part of your response. Thank you for that. What changes are you making in your business based on all of the excitement that's happening?
Nothing fancy, but a change that I think everybody should be making, and it's becoming much more like education based with your clients, and just super, super transparent of everything. Just sit down, your clients are going to trust you more and you're going to earn more business when they see that you understand these changes better than anybody. Especially if you're competing for a client, it's, 9 times out of 10, you're going to maybe be going against other agents who don't have any idea of what the actual changes are and how to navigate them. So when you sit down with your client and you can clearly explain the changes and how it impacts them or doesn't impact them, that's what I'm changing. I've been pretty bad with. I don't have a great listing presentation or buyer presentation. I kind of it's like rapport building. I explain the process and, I do that sort of thing. But now I have much more of I actually have a written buyer presentation. And then I'm working on the listing presentation as I now that I have all the info of how the new forms are working. So definitely the only change is just becoming more education based in terms of explaining the contracts so that they go and explaining the benefits of, hey, here's what we don't have to offer to pay a buyer broker fee, but here could be the repercussions of not doing that. Here could be the positives of not doing it, and just letting them choose and guiding them the way that, I think that is obviously in their best interest.
That's perfect. And
not too much else.
What John just said, y'all take that in and absorb it, because I just heard the story yesterday of an agent who did just that at a listing presentation, walked through, highlighted the differences, went through every single bullet point of what's changed. And the client said, not one other agent we've interviewed has done this. So thank you. So that is the most education.
Yeah.
It's a great time to win by just being smarter.
By just being educated on that, and Robert's post in the Facebook group earlier of knowing the RLA and the purchase agreement. Maybe because I grew up around a broker, that was the first, he pounded into my head, my dad, that you need to learn these forms, because you don't need to learn every single disclosure, but learn these 2 forms. These are how you get paid. And it's amazing to me how most agents have no idea what's in the purchase agreement past the first couple of pages. And when you're talking to clients or other agents, when you're really, I know the purchase agreement better than probably an unnecessary amount, honestly. But I feel it makes you more confident in your conversations too. So it helps you. It's not just knowing it to know it. It's the more knowledge you have, just the more confidently you can speak about everything. And when you're sitting down with clients, they can see right through you if you have no confidence, or you don't know what you're talking about. Just like you can when you're sitting across from somebody and you know they're blowing smoke or not being real with you. So it's important it's not just, oh, go out there and find business and figure the rest out later. I've heard that. And maybe for some people that works, and to a degree that's true. You don't need to know everything perfectly, but know the RLA and know the purchase agreement. That's my advice, at least.
It's wonderful advice. It's wonderful advice. What does a typical workday look like for you?
It's all over the place. I'm pretty bad with time blocking, in all honesty. If I have clients that I ask them what their schedules are, which is probably not the right way to go. If they work later in the day, it could be that one day I'm doing showings first thing in the morning and then coming into the office for a few hours. Or it could be that I'm here. I try to come into the office now because my house is a little more hectic. Coming to the office and then I'm doing showings or a listing appointment if I have it later in the afternoon. One thing that I make sure to do every day is I'm in some form or another looking for business. I'm not the 3 hour a day, even 2 hour a day prospecting guy, but I do something every day, whether it be, let's say it's a day where I'm just exhausted or I don't have it in me. It's okay. Well, what's the minimum you can do? And that's text 5 past clients. Ask them if there's any referrals to professionals they need for stuff done around their house. Just checking in with them, but don't just check in just checking in. That's kind of annoying, I think. Yeah, go to them with something. Go offer something. Don't just go to them and be like, do you have referrals? Like nobody wants that. You don't want that. Asking for business is very important, but you have to also offer something. So I think one of my go-tos at least once a year is because I do have a good contact list of whether it's a foundation person, electrician, painter, anything like that. I call clients and I offer that. Do you need anything done? And then just the other day, somebody's like, I need a foundation person. And then, you're establishing a connection based on that. But finding time to prospect every day. But as far as time blocking and a real schedule, I am a little all over the place at the moment. I need to get that more dialed in. So I think that's more common than not with agents, but I am kind of letting my clients' schedules dictate mine more than I should.
Well, I mean, that's a great learning moment for you. And yet I know you've already given us parameters of it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You turn the phone off at night.
Yeah.
And you said something else really important, that if nothing else, you're going to text 5 past clients a day and come to them with value. Hey, how can I help? Who do you need? Right. And then by doing that, you establish that relationship. When they say, yes, I need a foundation person. Well, now you know that past client is having an issue with their foundation of their home. Right. Yeah. Whatever they're looking for in the house. Now you're the person who's connecting that dot for them. So I love that I know when we talked, you were like, I'm not trying to build a $1 billion team or X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, that you shouldn't be. You should be yourself. And I love that authenticity of, I don't prospect 3 hours a day. I probably should or could, but here's what I definitely do at least every day. The reality is most people don't even have a at least standard to their business where they're truly bringing value to X number of people a day in their relationship. Yeah. Based on your database being 300.
Sometimes it can mean, honestly, 20 minutes of, like, if I'm being real, sometimes it can mean 20 minutes of sending out messages to people.
Yeah.
Like if that's all you can do for that day, I don't recommend that that's all the prospecting you do. But one thing is for sure, if you're not looking for business, it's, the longer you do it, you'll have some referrals that fall in your lap, but that's not a way to have consistent business, and you're going to do the wave that most agents do.
It's stellar advice. And if you're doing at least that daily, you will build consistency over time, and then you can incrementally add more on top of it, right? It's awesome. We know we talked about, you said you're mostly Sphere past client referral, so that like SOI base, and you said your database is 350 people. when you talk about like you do at least 5 text messages a day or something like that, if you are following up with people, like give people a little more insight because you do have a very relatable business style, I think, not intimidating for people. So lean in a little further to that with follow up or that part of your business. What does that look like?
Sometimes it looks, so I befriend all of my past clients on social media, like Facebook, Instagram, all those. So sometimes it's as, right, for me, it's the reason I've kept my database that small is because I feel like I can somewhat stay in front of a small group of people like that. Or, you know, if I had 5,000 people or whatever, it would just overwhelm me personally. So, I look at my database as like, okay, so I have like these 350 people. They all know me and they all trust me, and we have a decent relationship. At least I have a good relationship, at least with most of them. And then I have them in command, and then I have them on Instagram, and I have them on Facebook. And so whether it's a text or a call or an email, and then the next contact with them is I see that their kid is doing a fundraiser for their little league, and I throw it $20 and I say, you know, wish you all the best. Those are all different ways that I can stay in front of these people. So it's not all just reaching out to them with a text, reaching out to them with an email. It's staying in front of them in like where they are, which is, and I'm not a big social media person. I don't post a ton, but I engage with people on that, whether it's something as simple as liking a post or commenting on it and just being authentic. And you can message people all different sorts of ways. You don't have to just text a client. You see them on Facebook or you see them on Instagram and you want to shoot them a message. That's another way that I do it. So it's really nothing. I wish I had something more like the key to tell you, but that's kind of just, it's just staying in front of people that trust you. And when you don't have that, like when you're first starting, you don't have a bunch of people in your database. I think open houses are fantastic. That's how I first started, was doing a bunch of open houses. Learn, especially for newer agents that are doing open houses, learn these along with the RLA and the purchase agreement, learn these open house forms like the back of your hand, because we want open houses to still be an avenue for getting business. And the more familiar you are with those forms, the more comfortable you're going to be at utilizing them and getting clients from that avenue still. So yeah, I still like doing open houses, but it just kind of has morphed a little bit into just trying to cater to the people, these like 300 or so 50 people. And then I have one other lead service that I get VA leads through, and those can be decent through, especially through times where I'm slower. So,
I think that, go ahead.
I was going to say, I've randomly closed a couple of leads through our KW website. So they're not all total scam leads. Most of them are. But I got a listing in the last few months from it and a buyer. I referred Nikki a really, really difficult listing in City Heights. But I would say, unless it's some funky email that you know is a scam, follow up with those people. If you get any leads through your KW website, it's worth it. Don't message them on WhatsApp and send them $5,000. But
And Jen, that's why I was excited to interview you, because there is such a true like authenticity to how you do it. And I know you said like, I know that's not exciting for an answer, but to me, that's the validity of the answer is you
boring.
do
It's boring a lot of times.
Yeah.
But what's not boring is when you have business. That's fun.
Well, and it actually is, like, I'm sure Jacqueline's brain, because she's the systems creator and, of the machine, is like, well, no, you kept your database small with intentionality around it. Then you go to Facebook and social media and you have them all there and you follow up with them. As Vinny said, how much time a day do you spend stalking them? But that does become you maintaining your sphere, your I only want to say aura, which is weird, but like you are in their stratosphere constantly, following up with them, staying in touch with their lives. It's exactly what social media should be used for in your business versus, endless scrolling and such. So I think it's a fabulous answer.
Yeah, and the social media thing, I think, there's a lot of work I could do on social media in terms of like what I post and how often I post, but I think you just gotta do what feels authentic. And I remember when I first started, and I think a lot of agents feel this way, is you're worried about having like commission breath or coming across as like, you're asking for business and you're like, just give me. But that's like everyone says, it's a fact though. That's in your head. If you're feeling that way, if you're feeling like you're being greedy and just asking for things and not offering anything, then that's how you're gonna come across. So just seek to try to help first and use your expertise and understand that you have something valuable to offer and that they're better off. Though I think that a client is better off with me in a transaction than without me. So when you really feel that way, it's easier for that to come through in your conversations. If you feel like you're going to be better off working with me than if you were not. And that, as simple as that, it makes my conversations easier because I am able to really like be there for them and guide them without just thinking about myself the whole time.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. What transaction did you learn the most from?
I don't know if it's a specific transaction that I've learned the most from. Probably just difficult clients whenever I do have them. I had at the beginning of this year a very, very difficult seller who was very combative and a huge pain the entire time. And at the end of the deal, they were very happy with everything, but the whole time it was just turmoil and just is knowing how, like the learning part of it was, I think years ago I would used to maybe let that type of client like bleed into my personal time or like past a certain hour. And I have right now I'm working on, when I do come across those people, either if they're really bad, don't work with them. But if you're already in the middle of a deal with them, understanding that like this is on like them feeling that way, you're doing everything you need to do. Them feeling that way or having constant anxiety or freaking out, that's them, and you need to know how to. I just say less in those situations. I've learned how to just say less and just keep it on email. And because if you get it real crazy, like I said, you either don't want to work with them, and that's okay. Or this one, it was a referral from an attorney. I'm trying to build a relationship with. I wasn't about to turn it away. But I think I learned, honestly, to move everything to email. I just moved everything to email, and I just said, she'd call me and I'd go, I'm going to respond to you in an email, and I need you to respond to that email. Like, I don't trust our communications and that sort of thing. So I think that was like some level of growth in terms of just understanding how to deal with a more difficult person.
Saying less and moving to email so it's all in writing and there can be no miscommunication.
Yeah, that's the only reason. I mean, I also just didn't want to talk to her. So, but moving to email made it so, yeah, everything was documented. There was no ambiguity in anything that I did with her, so that I knew there would probably be something that she came back and said later. But because of how, when I moved, at the point at which I just told her, hey, from now forward, we're going to move everything to all of our correspondence to email. There was really nothing that, everything was documented that way.
And I'm sure you might have won a gold star for your best communication log of the year from compliance with that one.
Maybe. That's what my TC uploaded.
All right, tell us, where do you see opportunity?
Where do I see opportunity? I don't know. I think that the reason I still do this is because I just think that this industry has there's just a lot of opportunity in it by nature. I think just I also have continued to do it this long because of the flexibility that it can give you if you let it. And it kind of goes back to what you're saying, how I don't aspire to have personally have a big team and make million in GCI. It'd be great to make more money, right? But I also do it because I know that there's a certain amount of business that I can do where I can still have so much flexibility in my day and in my evenings and weekends. So I see opportunity in, if you lay the groundwork for it, I see opportunity in having it make your life better and happier, and because of the flexibility you have. But you can also make it a nightmare by never stopping working and never stopping thinking about it. So finding that balance is not easy. And I struggle with it still, but I think I know where my personal, where I need to be or where I like to be business wise and transaction wise and income wise, to where I still have what I want as far as my own personal time. And so if I continue on with that, that's good for me. That makes me happy and satisfied.
And then you said you started in 2012-ish, so then that's been 12 years in the business.
Yep.
So how long do you think it took you to figure out that prime spot for you?
Last year, I don't know. It's also different when you start really, really young, because I didn't have any other responsibilities when I was super young. When I was 23 doing this, I didn't have other responsibilities. So it was like my life. It was like, this is so exciting. And I just made it everything because I didn't have relationship, a kid, anything. I didn't have, which actually was a great way to start, not having a lot of bills and responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But so when you don't have all of that extra stuff, you don't really need, I didn't really feel like I needed to find balance or anything like that. So it's really been in the last year or so when I've had to decide what kind of person or dad or husband that I want to be, because and what's kind of the hierarchy of what's most important. And if you're putting business at the top of that, everything, things are going to fall apart. It's not going to be good. And so kind of having your priorities straight. And I think right now I have my priorities straight, but again, it's I screw up and my wife would be like, what the hell are you looking at your phone for? It's 9 p.m. And I'm like, and then I have to tell her, I'm texting so-and-so. She's like, you're texting that client? That person sucks. She somehow knows the names of all my clients.
Having a partner who's,
I could be hanging out with you or the baby or something, and I'm doing this. So it's figuring that out is, I think, very, very important.
having a partner who holds up that mirror for you in an encouraging, maybe sarcastic, but that's what works in a relationship way is a great tool in your tool belt. We're at time, but I do want to ask you, what didn't I ask you that I should have?
I think you covered most of the important stuff. What should have you asked me?
Where do you see yourself in 6 years?
I remember seeing that question, and I'm not good with those questions. Where do I see myself in 6 years? Because I am pretty happy with how I'm doing things right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in 6 years, I'm 40. I don't want to be working for commissions for the rest of my life. So there's a point where I would like to retire, probably in my 50s or somewhere in my early 50s, if I'm fortunate enough to put myself in that position. But honestly, if I'm where I am right now with probably another kid and then being done after that, that's good for me. Yeah. So that's where it's not I'm yeah, I want to do this and this and this. I'm no, I feel pretty good.
I think it's incredibly relatable, and I think it's meaningful for people to hear that whatever you're thinking of in your business with your family and whatever that looks like is right for you. Making that work and keeping your priorities about what's truly a priority in your world is so meaningful. Also, keeping your database to a size where you can manage it and just be in text communication, social media communication, and be in communication with them, right? Not just be oh, I don't know, we'll find out. John, thank you for your authenticity today. Thank you for showing up and sharing. I appreciate you. I know a lot of people learned a lot today, and keep being awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great week. Next week is Mega Camp, so stay tuned for all the updates. Toodles.